I think it's a management issue. I think a lot of what happiness is a management issue, and decisions that you're making right now, like you could be in a shit state of mind right now, but you could make some decisions to adjust that, and over the next couple hours, you'll get to a much better place. And these constant management decisions, they waver in and out of your life on a daily basis. Like this idea that you could have a good mindset, then all of a sudden you'll be happy. That's horseshit. Like it's like the tide. It comes in and it comes out, and there's going to be days where you're just not feeling so good physically, and that's going to affect the way your happiness level is. It's never static. It's never exactly the same. This is something I've cultivated for a long time and avoided things that make me unhappy and figured out what those things are and been very rigid about eliminating them from my life. And one of the big ones is eliminating interactions with people that are negative. That is gigantic. And because I've realized that I'm not really as independent as I used to like to think I was. I used to like to think that my thought process was independent and that I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks. That's nonsense. People say that because they absolutely care what people think and it bothers them. So they say, I don't give a fuck. But that I don't give a fuck stuff is almost entirely nonsense. You do care. And you care in both ways. You care if people are critical of you, care if people are positive of you, but you also care if people are living positive lives and they're motivating you. That's a big one. People are fuel. When you meet these exceptional people that move you, like what are the characters? What are the qualities that they have? What are the characteristics that they possess? And those things become significant and important to you. Whereas if you live around a bunch of people that are complaining and bitching about everything and they see the negative in everything and they're always whining, those people are the opposite of that. They're the opposite of inspiration, and they're mud. You're just like, bleh. It's like you're up to your ankles in mud. You try to trudge through life. It's difficult. You're not light. It's not pushing you. There's not a wind at your back. The wind's in your face, and it's rough. And so managing the community and the tribe that you're in, making sure that you're a good member of that tribe, that you're doing your part, and there's a lot of cynicism in these days about inspiration and about motivation because there's a lot of fake shit. You can go on Instagram and you see a million of these inspirational quote pages, and they're run by people that are probably depressed. You see a lot of people that are, talking about how to get ahead in life, but they're not really doing anything themselves. So there's a lot of cynicism involved in that. But there's also sincerity in it. And you can get, if you just look at it with a pure heart and a pure mind, you can get a lot of energy out of that. And when you're around happy, inspirational people that are successful, it makes you feel better and you get inspired. And if you act on that inspiration, your life will be more fulfilled. And it's not just inspirational in terms of financial success, but in terms of doing difficult things, whether it's running 100 miles, it doesn't pay you a goddamn thing other than the wealth of the knowledge that you can push yourself to such an extreme, or anything else, whether it's someone who becomes really good at playing chess or someone who's really good at martial arts or whatever it is. There's a great feeling in these overcoming these difficult things, because life is never this just constant state of I'm at a 9 all day, and when I'm with my wife I hit 10, yay, and I stay like that. That's not real. What's real is like you saying that you went to this monastery and felt all this angst about meditating and being alone and not having your phone and not having the input, but then when it comes out of it, then you have this reward. So you push through this and you had these uncomfortable feelings, and you came out of those uncomfortable feelings with this newfound appreciation for time and this respect for your own existence in your own space and carving out 3 hours for yourself a day. That's where it all comes from. It all comes from life lessons, and the lessons are learned through struggle. And I think that there's a lot of people out there that think somehow or another you're going to get to some place where you're living in silk sheets and you're getting your toes done while someone's dropping grapes into your mouth. I don't want that. I've never wanted that. That guy's not going to be happy. He's going to be bored. An hour into the grapes, you're going to get those fucking grapes away from me. Stop painting my toes. What am I doing in this bed? I got to do something. I'm not stimulated. The human organism, the animal that we are, needs constant stimulation because it evolved trying to find food and escape enemies and find shelter, escape nature, escape the elements, try to survive. And this is the great joy that you have in taking care of your children, that you can protect your children from the elements and the enemies and feed them. And it's also the great sadness that you see in losers. When I see a loser, I see some guy who's 43 years old, lives in his parents' basement, and he fucking hates the world. I'm like, that was a baby. Man, this is a baby that somebody just gave shitty nutrients to, whether it's nutrients in the forms of food or in the form of thoughts and ideas and examples. And this kid developed these horrible, self-defeating patterns of behavior that have led them to this point. You know, I mean, this is the world that we live in today. And I think part of that world is because we have been fed this line of horseshit that you're supposed to seek comfort. And I don't think you are. I think you're supposed to seek lessons, and you're supposed to seek difficult tasks and accomplishments. And through those things and through doing things that are hard to do, even if it's just a fucking 90-minute hot yoga class. I do a 90-minute yoga class, man. Those last 20 minutes, I do not want to be there, man. And I definitely don't want to give 100%. And I can cheat. I can kind of half-ass it. I can, but if I don't and I get through it, when that time is up and the lady says namaste and everybody gets up, I'm like, fuck, man, I made it. You know, I lost 15 pounds. My fucking yoga mat is drenched to the point where I could literally wring it out and fill a jug up with water. But through that struggle, I will now have a better day, and I better fucking do it again tomorrow or do something else. Because if I just think, well, tomorrow I'm just going to coast and eat Twinkies and watch TV. Oh, hello, sadness, my old friend. Hello, depression. Because when you're not doing anything, you feel like shit. And that's just a part of being a human being. And we can pretend that we're something other than what we really are. And we can pretend, nah, me, man, I'm just cool, just chilling, doing nothing. Bullshit. You're a fucking human. You're a human being. You evolved from the fucking hundreds of thousands of years of hunters and gatherers and people that were struggling. Those human reward systems are carved deeply into your DNA. And if you don't respect that, if you don't respect the mechanism of happiness and fulfillment and what you really need to do in order to feel satisfied in life, camaraderie, love, family, friendship, struggle, testing yourself, learning, all those things are imperative. They're all a giant part of being a person. I always looked at normal people living normal lives. I could never relate. I never understood it. You know, I also grew up from a broken home, and we were also on welfare, and, you know, the whole deal. Because I think a lot of motivated people come from a place of despair when they're younger. Yeah. And I always had this thought in my head that one day I would make it. Yeah. One day I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it. And then one day I realized, and I don't know when I realized it, probably when, like, on paper I'd already made it. I realized, oh, there's no such place. Like, this is not real. Like, you can't ever, you don't make it. No one makes it. Like, every day you have to be trying to do better. Every day you have to be trying. First of all, there's no perfect human. Let's accept that. You're always going to be flawed. You're always going to be subject to fits of rage and envy and all the things that you wish that you would never have in your mind. So you've got to constantly be working to make sure that that never happens. You constantly be working to make sure that you are always evaluating your perspective on life and always looking at things from constantly meditate. Make sure that you approach life with a learned perspective. Like, you're a better person than you were the day before, and whatever you're trying to do, whether it's fighting or whether you have an art form that you practice, whatever it is that you're doing, you're trying to do better every day. And you never, even if you accomplish some, like when, you know, you accomplish some amazing work of art, that's just that day. The next day you got to go back to work. Like if you have a world championship fight and you've trained for 8 weeks and you win by knockout and a spectacular result and you're very happy with the result, you got a day or two to relax. You got a day or two, and then you're like, fuck, okay, now what? Well, now you got to get back to work. And if you think that there's some place like a movie where you're holding hands with your loved ones and the fucking sunset's going on and the credits roll, that's horseshit. And we have this idea in our head that there's this place that you can get to where you've air quotes, made it.